Hey everybody, it's Jeff and Lauren and Mom.
Hi.
Hello.
We wanted to let you know that we are going to be changing the format of our show. Right, Lauren?
Yes, we will be adding a variety of different content in order to keep things fun and interesting both for you and for us.
We still have some episodes left of our normal programming, but coming soon, things are going to look and sound a lot different.
We hope you've enjoyed our past episodes like we have, and we hope that you'll continue to stay with us as our program evolves.
Yeah, so enjoy this week's episode and look forward to what's coming soon. And we love you. Goodbye.
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 Welcome back, everybody, to My Mama Done Told Me.
My mama done told me.
My mama done told
What
me
I
what
think.
I want, and I don't think that's right. She told me I don't want to win the money.
Honey.
Told me my head's big. Then she told me I didn't want a small one. And all the times long day, I found that,
All the times long.
honey.
Oh, sweet.
Welcome back to My Mama Done Told Me. I am Petty
Kathy?
Officer
Oh.
Jeff. Petty Officer Kolaski, as
Aw.
you can see. Over there is my sister, Lauren,
Hello.
and my mother, Mom.
Hey.
She's the mama.
I'm the
and
mom.
My mama done told me. And if you're not watching on video on Spotify or YouTube, then you are missing out on me. I have put on a flash
me?
from the past.
A flash in the pan.
I put it on a flash in the pan when I used to be.
Tight flash.
You need to go home. You're big-headed and you just called me fat.
I did not.
You did.
You have matured. Men mature when you're
Men
19.
mature and get fat.
No, you're not fat.
You're not fat.
You're so far from fat, it's ridiculous.
Well,
Aw.
you just made me feel like a big-headed fatty.
I'm sorry, Jeff. Will you forgive me?
Will you name this episode Big-Headed
Big-headed
Fatty?
fatty. This is our big-headed fatty episode.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
The devil made me do it.
Oh, stop it, Lauren.
Like
That's
we can't
messed
say
up.
it.
What is it?
No, we can't say it.
Okay.
If you didn't watch The Devil Made Me Do It on documentary, go watch it and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yep. Go listen to that. Featuring Kane Stevens.
Yeah.
Very cool guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is our show. Today, if you're wondering why I'm dressed up like a U.S. Navy sailor, it's because I used to be one.
I used to be one. Mrs. Doubtfire.
Because this episode, we're talking about work. Jobs.
Yep.
Jobs that we've had that we didn't like.
They suck.
Yeah. So I put on my Navy uniform because that's what I had right over there, and it is going to make my list of jobs that that were probably the worst jobs, but it's probably the one I'm the most grateful for, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's awful, but it was a good thing. So, but we'll get into that. So let's talk about jobs,
Dirty jobs.
dirty jobs. Mom, you've zoned out. Are you
I'm
doing
thinking.
mudras over there?
No, I don't do those.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I do not.
It's a mood job.
But that isn't this.
But it's just
Okay.
a focusing
Anyway.
hand gesture.
I was thinking.
Yes, it is.
I was
I know.
thinking because
I know it is.
I knew this was
I've
going to
had a
happen.
lot of jobs.
I know you have. And I know.
Brat.
Go ahead, Ma.
Getting just a little bit too comfortable, aren't we?
Am I?
Oh.
Okay. So
All right, Mother. Let's hear about some of your worst jobs. Or
Actually,
if
most
there's
jobs-
one that's at the top.
there's one that's not the top of my list. Most of the jobs that I had my whole life, I really liked.
Okay.
Lemstone.
Oh, see,
Oh
that's
my
the second one.
gosh.
that I
Forgot
did.
about that, didn't
Limestone.
you?
There
I
was
Okay,
memory unlocked when you said that. I have not thought of the
Me
word
either.
lemstone. Lemstone books.
Me and Zach talk about it all the time.
I could walk you to where exactly where
Me
it was
too.
located.
you and Zach talk about it. Why?
Because that's where he would go to buy all of his Christian hip hop
Oh
CDs.
my gosh. Okay, I forgot about that one, but that's second
Okay.
because
I'm sorry I keep interrupting
That's
you,
okay.
but I feel like I want to try to guess what this is.
you won't know. I don't
I
think.
won't know. Okay.
I don't think so. It was my very first job
no.
after
Okay.
babysitting.
Okay.
And actually, the Limestone bookstore job was very similar because of the reason I didn't like the jobs was because of the boss.
Oh.
More often than not, that's the reason people don't like their
Okay,
jobs.
so my first job that I ever got, paying job besides babysitting that I ever got was when I was 16 and I went to work as an usherette
Ooh,
at
fancy.
the Dundee Theater in Omaha,
Really?
Nebraska
Oh,
on
awesome.
40th and Dodge.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
40,
Yeah, it's not
49th
40th.
and Dodge, I think, 50th and Dodge, right off of 50th and Dodge.
Yeah, that's about right.
So, and at that time, the theater was, they played The Sound of Music there for years. I mean, it was the only movie played in the theater for years.
Really?
I think it was there like maybe 4 years or something.
I didn't know that.
And you had to get reserved seats. So the usherettes then.
What years do you think?
1966. I was there in 1966 to
You played the same movie for 4 years?
Yeah, okay, so let me get there.
Okay.
So the usherettes had to take the tickets from the people at the, door and escort them to their seats. And they had to sit in specific seats. I mean, they were numbered, so you had to sit in the seats. Well, and there was no concession stand. The only concessions they had were in the back room, and you would load up a tray with we had to fill drink
Cracker
cups
Jacks or something like that.
Yeah, it was like Good and Plenty's and Junior Mints. I think we had Junior Mints and something else. There's like 2 or 3 different candies, and then pop in a glass, and that was it. Well, the manager guy his name was Mr. Zitlow, and I don't think he's alive anymore.
Hey,
but if he is,
Zitlow.
I don't even care if
Your
you know
name's-
that you were the meanest man I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
And he would stand you up and it sounds like a military thing, and criticize how your uniform looked. And now I can't.
What did you
remember
have to wear?
I don't remember now, but it was a uniform.
I imagine you looking like a flight attendant in the 60s.
That's exactly what it looked like.
Yep. Or a cigarette girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not a cigarette. In my mind, cigarette girls were
Have
kind
short
of
shorts.
skimpy.
Yeah.
Kind of skimpy.
Yeah.
But no, I don't remember. But it was awful, and
Zitlow.
I hated it.
Yeah.
But I got to know every line and lyric and every song of The Sound of
What
Music.
is it?
Can you
I
sing
am
Edelweiss?
16 going on 17.
I can, but I'm not going to.
Edelweiss.
It's Edelweiss.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Isn't 16 going on 17? in there?
yeah. And we would be out in the lobby, and we'd when if you remember the movie, and they were in the gazebo and they're like dancing around, we would be dancing around out because everybody's watching the movie. There was no one in the lobby, but he was horrible, and he would make me cry, and I just
Zitlow.
Zitlow,
I
I
hate
hate you.
By the way, we got $1 an hour.
Oh my goodness.
That was. I can remember getting checks for $5 and $6.
And that probably went a little ways, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Went way further back then than it does.
Yeah.
Of course.
sounds
it
crazy.
was, that was what everybody got, kind of minimum wage. But that
had
was
to
just, and then
start
Limestone was sort of the same thing. I loved the job.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the bookstore. I loved everything that they had, the customers, everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy who ran it was so bad. The guy
I
who
remember-
owned it, he was so mean. It was almost like he had something out for me for some reason.
weird.
And I never did anything to him. His wife was very nice, but he was horrible.
Yeah. What was his name? We'll call him
Dennis.
Dennis.
I can't remember.
Dennis.
his
I
last
do
nate
remember that.
Yeah.
And
I know some Dennises
I
I,
hate to
really
call
like.
anybody
though.
out,
Yeah,
but
me too.
he was mean
I
to me,
don't.
and I don't know why.
Anyone mean to my mom can rot. Yeah.
Suck eggs.
Yeah.
So those two, and everything else I've done, I've pretty much been okay with.
Mm-hmm. What was you remember, what job that you had that I think I liked the most of you having? Whatever that
At
means.
school?
No, that
When I
was
worked at
awful.
school.
No,
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
I'm kidding. That wasn't awful, but you did catch me getting mad at my
I
teacher
did.
one time. Yeah.
I did. That couldn't have been.
I just thought it was cool
any
because I
more
was like,
perfect.
I don't feel good. And she'd be like, all right, I'll take you home.
Nice.
Nobody had to call my mom.
Yeah.
Nope.
I liked when you worked at. Now the name is It was out in the outlets.
Oh, Royal Dalton.
Oh, Royal Dalton. I
that
worked
was
there
one of
too.
my favorite jobs.
The only reason I liked that one so much is when there was damaged stuff, we got to go smash it.
Oh, I
Yep.
remember
And that was
that.
fun.
I worked there too.
Yep,
Me
you
and
worked
a
there.
couple of my friends from high
Yeah.
school worked there with
Yeah.
me.
That's right. That was a fun place to work.
It was.
I
I
Well,
mean, it was a lot of dusting
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
things of that nature.
Busy work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, strategic telemarketing,
Oh, geez, I forgot about that.
worst job?
No.
Okay.
No, that was actually kind of fun. We kind
Scamming people out
well,
of their money.
scamming. But we kind of
LFO.
LFO 1 2
1, 2,
3
3,
4
4,
5.
5.
I still don't. I don't understand that. You're gonna
Well,
have to
you were
someday
there
know.
when we talked about it.
I know, but I didn't get it then either.
Oh, okay. But anyways, so no, I think that one was kind of fun because we kind of got to jack around with our
Yeah,
friends a little bit, and all of my friends worked there, like a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't so bad. But my worst job ever, so I have two. And I worked at both collectively, like put together, 6 days. That's how much I hated them.
Yeah.
The first one was right after I graduated from aesthetics school. Right after I worked at a place called Tomio's Rock and Roll Salon and Spa here in Omaha, Nebraska, and it was so much fun. There was a tattoo shop in there. There was a bar in there, and
It's kind of a rockabilly vibe.
yeah,
wasn't it?
it was fun. They had like a DJ booth. I know my fiance said that he DJ'd there a few times
Oh, that's
for
hilarious.
some stuff.
Pretty cool.
And yeah, so that was a lot of fun. But after that, I wasn't getting paid enough. I know we talked about that a couple weeks ago. But I wasn't getting paid enough, and I decided that I was going to try my hand working at Garbo's and Regency. No, thank you very much. It was the worst. It was the worst.
Yeah.
The people that worked there were fine.
Yeah.
But they already had 3 estheticians on staff. So I was basically an esthetician that got to dust shelves all day for
What year do you
nothing.
think this was?
2001.
Okay.
2001. And you know, I would get walk-ins if the other estheticians were busy.
There wasn't
So
a
there
rotation
wasn't-
or anything. It was
No,
just, yeah.
it would no, because people that came in wanted, they'd be able to say who they wanted, and nobody knew me.
Right.
And so if everybody else was busy, they would say, "Well, we have this person available," and it was me, and they'd be like, "Oh, okay." And it was like an eyebrow wax every other day. It was terrible. And I remember when the day that I decided I wasn't going back was my birthday. So I worked there from like your birthday to my birthday, and
Total of
that was
4
it.
days.
Yeah, it was like literally 3 or 4 days. And I remember sitting outside because at the time I smoked cigarettes, and I remember sitting on the bench outside smoking cigarettes, going, "I'm not coming back tomorrow. I don't even know why I came here today. It's my birthday. I don't know why I came in. I'm dusting shelves."
Not doing it.
And that you were not on any hourly pay. You were total
No,
commission.
I think I had a little bit of an hourly pay, but it was
Not worth it.
not
Very
worth
minimal.
it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't want to clean. Good segue into my next job.
Okay.
Before I worked at Gordman's before looks stupid.
It's like
Before I worked at Gordman's for 10 years, I decided that I was going to try being working at the Maids. Those little yellow cars that you see.
I don't remember that.
I do.
It was 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not work there. It maybe not even that much. It might have been 1 or 2 days. I think I went twice. But it was terrible. Cleaning other people's houses is not my cup of tea. Some people like it. Some people can make really good money doing it, and they're really good at it. That is not me.
Yeah.
But I remember because I was the newbie, all the other ladies and everyone except for me spoke Spanish. I spoke very little Spanish. But I was like, it's fine. I'll get used to it. I'll learn, But I had to do the banos every time.
Yeah.
all 2 times that I went to work there.
Right.
I had to do the banos. And I remember going to one apartment complex where a guy had, like, it was like we had to clean it in between tenants. And there were roaches everywhere. And I couldn't even leave because we all drove there together. So I didn't even have my car. I know, it was the worst.
Ew.
It was the worst, and I do not recommend. And there's nothing wrong with the company. It was fine. Everything was good. It just is not for me. It was not for me at all. But yes, those were my 2 worst jobs ever. Jeff?
But I remember, wait, before we move on.
Yeah.
I remember, do you remember when she worked at the theater?
Yes.
Oh, AMC, yeah.
You hated that job.
I
so
did
much.
not like it. However, it wasn't worse than the other 2.
Yeah. But I remember walking in there.
I worked there for much longer than
Yeah,
I
you
worked
did.
It was
at the.
bearable.
I remember
Yeah.
her standing at the concession stand with this look. You know, when she gets mad, she just sort of like her eyes get darker.
Yeah.
I get a little evil.
Everything gets kind of
Yeah.
like this shadow over her face, and she's standing there like, man. People walk up.
I think I
she's not
own-
going to smile and say, "Can I help you?" It's like, I don't want to be
I
here.
hate this.
I think I own that face as well. I
Yes,
think I
you do.
have one of those.
You do.
myself.
But but I had a friend, Sarah worked there with me. And so that was
A little bit of
a little bit, helped
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
And I remember I worked there with them, I became friends with some of the people. So it got a little bit better.
Right.
Free movies were great.
Yeah. And free popcorn. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Who cares about that?
I love
Popcorn's gross.
popcorn.
Oh,
Jeff's
it's
weird.
so good. Oh my gosh, you should get a job there again because we like to get free popcorn.
No way, man.
So for me, I mean, obviously we talked about the Navy already. And,
Yeah.
when I went to the Navy and while I was in it, there was a lot of stuff. If you've listened to this show, if you listen to our other show, I've talked ad nauseum about being in the Navy. So I won't go too far into that. But there was a lot of stuff that was really awful about being in the Navy, especially in the command that we were in and in the, with some of the leadership that we had and the things places we went and all that. But I don't really consider that to be one of the worst jobs I've ever had because it set me up for a lot of really good things and it taught me a lot of stuff and I'm very grateful for it now. But during
When you're in it, it's not nearly
was-
so much.
yeah, it was there were some pretty awful times, but also some very good times. I had a lot of good friends from there and all that. Before joining the Navy, I had a job very similar to what you had mentioned where you only worked a few days. I worked 3 days at a warehouse called Mariana.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this was, I think, so let me think. This was the job that because of it, I realized I needed to do something with my life. And I started the electrical apprentice training because I wanted to get into something else. And I thought I can't be just a laborer forever because at least not like that.
A factory
If
worker.
I was going to be a laborer, I needed to have like a skilled trade or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, but I went in, so the first day on that job, it's loud in a factory. It's like a beauty product.
Yeah, it's like mannequin heads and things, right?
Off-brand beauty products. But where I worked, it was like astringents and makeup bottles and things like that. So the first day, I stood next to a conveyor belt, grabbed gallon bottles of astringent that had just gone around, got filled, got capped, and then they came to me. I took them off, put them in a cardboard box. 8 hours. Put them in a cardboard
Oh
box.
my gosh.
Yep. And
It's like an episode of How It's Made.
yeah.
No, it's like an episode of Lucille Ball.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Lucy.
Yeah. And at 11:30 or 12, that's your lunchtime. You have exactly 30 minutes to go eat lunch and be back on the line. Because it starts back up. If you're not there, you're in trouble. right? Beginning of the day, end of the day,
Because
your
all
lunch break.
the bottles of astringent fall off the conveyor belt.
Right. So that was day number 1. And I remember going home just like,
Okay.
this is awful.
This sucks.
Maybe I'll get to
Was
do
it hot in there too?
I don't think it was.
No.
No. It was loud. I remember it was very, very loud.
Did you wear ear things?
Yeah. And then, but the people around you try to talk to you and they're just kind of talking like, please,
Oh, I hear all the time.
Right. Second day, they moved me. That's great. A box full of little bottles about 3 inches tall and like about 1 inch around, right? I had to take one at a time, take them out of the box, put them on a little conveyor belt where it sprayed a number on the bottom of it, let it drop into another box. So my day went like this. And if you're not watching, what I'm doing is taking one bottle out of the box, putting it up, over and over and over. 8 hours of that.
Nope.
Day number 3, I went back for a third day. Day number 3, I was back on the astringent,
Oh no.
putting astringent bottles in boxes.
So how did you know what your job was that day? They told you when you got there. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So
And
did it look like everybody else around you was doing the same type of mundane, nothing? I
Yep.
mean, it's not nothing work because somebody has to do it.
No,
and
yeah.
Somebody works,
I mean,
and I'm
over-
not coming against that because
No.
we need people to do that.
Sure.
But it takes a certain
Yeah.
person
Well,
to
they
be
were,
able to
you know,
do that.
people would move up into being like somebody who,
Like a supervisor. Or
yeah,
something.
or like input data into the thing and
Yeah.
made sure that things were going. But I was brand new and I was a kid, so I was just doing the most menial of
Dirty
all the
work.
tasks. Yeah,
You were Banos that day.
I was banos. Yeah, I would have rather. I've cleaned toilets for a living, and that doesn't come anywhere near as
Right.
bad, you know. So day 4, I woke up, called their answering service, and I at least called them and said, "I'm not coming back. Got a check for $100, not even you know what,
Yeah,
50
whatever it
bucks or
was.
whatever it was." A couple weeks later, and that was the end of that. I think that was my worst job.
Yeah.
I've had some that got pretty bad over time, you know, but I think I'm kind of with Mom. Most of my jobs, I have found something decent about it. You know, I worked at several grocery stores. My first jobs were bagging
Albertsons,
groceries.
right.
My very first job was at Hy-Vee bagging groceries.
The
From
one
there-
by Oakview?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
I remember.
Yep.
Then from there, I was 14. Then from there, I went to
Albertsons.
did the same thing, but a couple of my friends worked there, so that was cool. Then, I mean, we don't have to go through my whole
Yeah.
job thing, but I've worked at video game store. I've worked
yeah, that
at
was
Whole
kinda fun.
Foods. I worked at as an electrician's apprentice for a while.
Even though that didn't work out, you did learn some skill. With
Oh,
that
absolutely.
That really
Yeah.
has been good to know.
Yeah. And then my
Yeah.
line of work now, it's been very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
So anyway, do we want to real quick go around and say what our favorite job has been?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh man, I have to think.
We got 5 minutes left. Lauren, do you want to start?
Yeah,
Favorite
sure.
job?
Yeah. My favorite job that I've ever had is the job that I'm currently at, Titan Medical Group. If you're a traveling nurse, give me a call. My mom and dad told me podcast@gmail.com. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. I'm not in the staffing part. I'm a QA
But I could get
manager,
you
but
in
I could
touch
probably
with
get you
someone.
in touch with a recruiter. Yeah, I love that job for a lot of different reasons. I've been there for 12 years almost. This year it will be 12 years.
Holy
crazy.
moly.
Yeah. And the whole reason is because when I started there, the company was very small. There was like maybe 45, 50 people at the very most that worked there. And it was a family-owned small business. And I just got to know the people that worked there and the management, you know, the CEO and the COO, and they're both still there from when I started. So they, you know, shout out to Mom and Dad. That's what we call them.
Yeah.
And the people that I work with are my best friends. So that makes going to work
Absolutely,
heck of
it
a lot
does.
easier. And,
Absolutely, it does.
Throughout the years, I've had all of my best friends have worked there.
Yeah.
Jessica worked there. Becky worked there.
Yeah.
Nikki worked there. Like,
Yep.
there's been a plethora of Jill.
Kim Whitehill.
Kim Whitehill works there. I didn't know her prior to.
Right.
But, Jill, Becky, Jessica, Nikki, I all, knew them prior to them working there. And they moved on, but stayed in the industry, which is kind of cool too. Like all of them still work in the industry. So
Very cool.
it's very cool. And I can go to work. I know my job like the back of my
There's
hand.
something so satisfying about
And I
knowing
can,
you got-
and I can listen to a podcast or watch a show or listen to a book on tape. I say book on tape, an audio book. Dating
Make sure
myself.
you rewind it before you return it, Lauren.
And do my job and and kind of it's enjoyable and it's mundane, but it's what I like to do.
Yep.
I'm a very detail oriented person and I like that. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I
a fun
agree.
job.
My favorite job is the job that I'm in right now. I've had the most, success in that. I get to work around people that I enjoy very much. I've become friends with the people I work around, and I work at an air and space museum, and that's
How cool is
pretty
that?
stinking cool. I work around
Well,
some of the coolest, in
Aircraft.
aviation and aerospace that's out there, and
Yeah.
so it's a really good job, and I there's been rough parts, but just like any other job, but
Challenges.
when I started there, it was very welcoming, and over the last year or so, I've been challenged in good ways and able to perform and also gain the trust of a lot of people, and that's been very rewarding for me. So what were you
Cool.
going to say, Ma?
No.
Oh,
I said
No.
every job has some challenges, even if it's your favorite
Mm-hmm.
job and you love it. And if there isn't challenges, it's probably going to get too mundane, and
Yeah.
maybe you wouldn't be happy there.
Yeah.
I mean,
How about you, Ma?
well,
Favorite?
it's kind of hard because I had some really jobs that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
I love work. I loved when I was a teller in the 1970s at
wow.
the Commercial Federal Savings and Loan. I had good friends there, and
Yeah.
I loved the job. It was very, like you said, detail oriented. We had to balance your drawer every day, and so there's a lot of math.
Yeah,
and I
bookkeeping
did
like
that
you
for
were talking
7
about
years.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I loved that. That was a good job. And I had a job at Omaha Public Schools that I loved. Again, it was payroll work and accounting kind of work. And I loved the people. I forgot what his title was. He was the secretary to the Board of Education. Was my boss, his name was Mr. Charles Beatty, and he was awesome. I mean, Charles Beatty, yes. And he was just great. And when I worked at Trinity School, I really loved that. I mean, there was a lot, but I think my
Yeah.
favorite one probably was when I owned the bed and breakfast in Walnut Island.
Oh yeah, that's a good
That
one.
was a party
For
every
sure.
day.
Yeah.
That was party every day, and met lots of really cool people.
Yeah, you
and
did.
Actually had a beautiful old home, and
Mm-hmm.
was built in 1910.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very old home, and
Yeah, it was cool.
yeah, it was a very cool.
You
house.
had the two dogs at
I had
that
the
time.
two collies that were there,
I
and
forgot about Deke for a while.
That's working from home before working from home was a thing.
yeah, yep, it was really great. It was just fun to watch people come together around the breakfast table and find common things. Everybody always had something in common,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
was great. After about 5 years, though, it got really
much.
tiring. It was a lot of work.
It was.
a
I remember
lot
that.
of
It was
work.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I bet you some of our listeners are going, you guys think your jobs were bad? I've done some horrible jobs.
Yeah.
So we'd like to hear what those jobs are, what you hated about them, what's the worst job you have ever had. Also, if you have a job you really like, or if you work somewhere that one of us works or has worked and you want to make a comment about what we said, make sure you reach out to us. You can do that through our email address. Lauren, what is that email address for our listeners?
My mama done told me podcast at gmail.com.
My mama done told me Trixie at
She
gmail.com.
sound asleep.
Her
Yeah.
is knocked out.
We also have a whole bunch of social medias, so if you want to check us out on all the Instagrams and Facebooks and all that stuff, you can find links to those. Where, Ma?
Schwenoids.
Sure,
Right in the
If He made a silly voice, and
Shy
that's hard for
night.
me sometimes to be silly.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. I don't feel like I should be silly.
Well, it's good for you.
Be serious all the time.
But I'm
That
not.
is
I'm usually
the
not,
worst
but
thing
it
to do.
feels like,
Yeah.
I'm the matriarch right here. So.
You need a little crown. And tell
She
me
said
what I
sound.
want, what I want, and what I don't want.
I know
will-
what's best for you,
I
Jeff.
will
I
tell
am your mother.
you. Mhm.
I know. I still know what's best.
Okay, well, we hope you keep your minds open and be kind to each other. Until next week, this has been My Mama Done Told Me. I've been Jeff
Mama.
Lauren. Trixie.
and Trixie.
Oh.
Good night, Trixie.
Good night,
All right, bye, everybody. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
You guys say I love you.
Love you.
I love you.
Your hair. You've got like that one little thing
got the
that's
big
coming down
head.
in the front.
What did you say?
She called you big head.
said you have a big head.
when people say that.
Oh, well, it's just the size
I'd
of
rather
your
have
head.
a big head than a pinhead like I do.
You don't have a pin
I would
head.
I do
1,000%
too. I have a
rather
really
have
small head.
a smaller head.
No, you wouldn't.
Mine
Yes, I
is,
would.
I'm a cone head.
Mom, can I ask you to stop telling me what I'd want?
I
tonight?
know. I am your mother. I know.
I need to ask you to stop telling me what I want.
I know. I already know. I do. I know better than you do. If you had a small head, you'd want a big head.
No, I would not.
I bet
not
you
a
would.
single person in the world wants a big head. Not
Nobody
one.
wants a small head either.
I didn't say I want a small
You said
head.
you'd
I
rather
said
have
I,
a
Jeff,
smaller
your
head.
I want
head
a
is
smaller
proportionate
head.
to your body,
It
though.
is.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
It is. You'd look funny
Ladies
if you
and
had a
gentlemen.
small head.
He went like this.
A little pinhead at the top.